No, a person that does sin, that does the wrong, that's not them. This is why it would take God's God's spirit within the soul, I mean within the person, to be able to see it from God's perspective. It's impossible to see how Jesus see it without the Spirit of Christ. It's impossible to receive anything of God without the Spirit of Jesus. It don't care from healing to miracles to prosperity to whatever. Revelations, whatever, not revelations, revelation. A revelation from God. It it will take for his the person has to be born again for them to receive anything of God, because they are corrupt without it. But it will only take it would take for God's spirit to be able to show you that. But otherwise, you are in this is the world that Satan has us in until we become born again, which is the knowledge of Christ. That's why it was such emphasis of Satan to do whatever it took to not allow Jesus to go to the cross. Once he's on that cross, the works of Satan is done. The reason why there's evil on the earth is because people refuse to kneel to Jesus. It don't matter what religion. It doesn't matter what culture. Jesus is a spirit. He's not flesh and blood. We're not flesh and blood. We're in this body to unite us with one another. Not in the physical form, in the spiritual form. Once you get born again, you're on a mission. Remember, we were already in motion when God thought of us. Whatever that was going to be. It was in motion. We are coming to the knowledge of what God's plan and perfect will is. Without the sin. When we come to Christ, we are coming to the knowledge of what it was like before the sin. And how to live without the sin. In other words, how to live a world like Jesus lived it. Jesus didn't have to eat bread. He didn't have to eat food. We're told if we don't eat, we'll die. Now, we will actually. If God's spirit is not in you, you will die. Your body will perish. But Jesus' body was made for a sacrifice. Our body is made for a vehicle. Jesus' body was made for a sacrifice. Our body is made for a vehicle. We are on assignment to unify every person on this earth back to the Father. So every person on this earth has a place at the Father's table. Every person on this earth. The sin goes back. The wrong that we do goes back to Satan. It don't stay on us. When Jesus stripped Satan, he stripped Satan of his authority, which means all the original sin, all the acts that came from that, all the sin that came from the original sin goes back to Satan. It goes back to them. A person has the choice to stay with Satan or to leave Satan. They have a choice. And I'm going to hereby present you this choice. You heard it before, maybe through me, maybe through someone else. If you ever receive Jesus, your life will never be the same. Because the life that you once known it, you will never know it. I don't want to say you will never know it again. You will know what it's like to be Adam before the fall. You will know what it's like to be Jesus, is what I'm saying. If you allow Jesus to come into your heart, you will know what it's like. When the scriptures talk about those, you will know what it's like to be them. Which is free from the confusion of being torn between good and evil, or having knowledge of good and evil, and try to I don't want to say juggle both worlds, but for the lack of a, I would say juggle both worlds and make a choice between both worlds. You could be just solid good. We all know who Jesus is. Every person on this earth know who Jesus is. We would say everybody don't know who Jesus is, why the word got to get preached. Everybody who knows who Jesus is. But the average person is walking in the physical form, which is without Jesus. So the believer walks in the physical form to unite those who are walking in the physical form back to Jesus. Now they can know him in spirit and in truth. We are going from one dimension to the next. All right, people of faith. This is the more the reason why you are the blessed. You are the blessed. Let's be the blessing. Let's keep walking.